This poor maid cleaned a rich billionaire prince's hotel room, and he changed her life forever. This African love story will break your heart and restore your faith in love and justice. The ending will leave you speechless. Stay until the end. You won't believe what happened when these two worlds collide. Hello family, before we start this intriguing story, we would like you to subscribe, share, and turn on the notification bell so that you will be notified once we drop new stories. Also, comment the time you are watching this and country you are watching from. Now, let's dive into how it all started. At 4:45 a.m. in Lagos, Nigeria, while the rich still snored on imported mattresses, Amaka was already awake. She tied her scarf tightly, slipped her tired feet into worn-out slippers, and stepped out of her mother's one-room face me, I face you compound in Ajigunle. The gutter smelled. The streetlights flickered like they were tired too. She carried her bag, inside, only bread and groundnut, and headed toward Royal Crest Hotel, the most expensive hotel in Lagos, where ministers lodged, where celebrities came to hide from scandals, and where she cleaned toilets. Amaka had dreams, not the kind you shout on social media. She wanted to build Amashine Cleaners, a company where girls like her could clean in dignity and style. Uniforms with name tags, clean gloves, healthcare, a future. But today she was just room girl 17B. As she got to work, she scrubbed in silence. Her body moved, but her mind floated. She imagined marble floors with her company name shining on it. She imagined walking into banks not to clean, but to open accounts. They laughed at her at work. Amashine? With this your local slippers? A bank clean your mop first, one of the other maids sneered. She didn't reply, not because she was weak, but because silence was her weapon. But something strange happened that day. The VIP lounge was like another world. Crystal chandeliers, glass walls overlooking the sea. Amaka only entered there once a week, to mop the marble without leaving a single streak. As she pushed her mop quietly that morning, she noticed him. A man, tall, neat beards, plain clothes, but too clean to be regular. He wore a white shirt and black jeans, but the shirt was designer, she could tell. Shoes too, yet he sat like he didn't want to be noticed. No jewelry, no phone in hand, just a cup of coffee and a face like he'd seen too much. Their eyes met. She quickly looked away, embarrassed, but he called her. "Excuse me, you missed a spot." She turned, heart pounding. "I'm sorry, sir." But he smiled. "No, I was joking. You clean very well." Her mouth opened, closed. "Thank you, sir." He stretched his hand, slipped something into her palm. Not a note, but a bundle of crisp 1,000 Nigerian Nairas notes. Her eyes widened. "No, sir, I can't." "It's not for your work," he said. "It's for your dreams." She stared at him. "Do you even know my dreams?" she whispered. He smiled. "Not yet, but I want to." Amaka stood by the mop bucket, staring at the money in her hand like it was cursed. She had seen guests tip the staff before, but not like this. 20,000 Nigerian Nairas. From a stranger, for doing what she did every day. "Who are you?" she asked quietly. "I'm Charles," he said. Just Charles. But something about his calm voice and confident eyes made her think otherwise. She wanted to ask more, but before she could, the supervisor barged in. "Amaka, what are you doing here still talking? Go clean suite 804, sharp sharp." She tucked the money in her bra and nodded. Charles watched her leave. She didn't know it yet, but that was the first test. He was not just watching her mop. He was watching her character. Suite 804. The kind of room that cost more than her entire year's salary. As she pushed open the door, Amaka inhaled sharply. Gold-trimmed curtains. Silk bedsheets. The faint smell of vanilla-scented room spray. But something shocked her. There were fresh roses on the bed. A handwritten card. To the girl with the golden hands. Her hands trembled. Was it Charles? Before she could process it, the landline in the suite rang. She picked up. "Do you like the flowers?" the voice asked. It was him. "Sir, how?" "I told the receptionist I was expecting a VIP guest. She assumed it was a rich woman. I said nothing." Amaka smiled despite herself. "You don't even know my name." "I want to learn. If you'll let me." But Amaka had learned never to trust sweet mouths. I clean, I go. I don't mix feelings, she replied. He chuckled. Then let me be the first man who respects your work and your heart. She dropped the phone gently, but her heart was no longer gentle. That night, the rain fell like the sky was mourning. Amaka had finished her shift. She held her umbrella as she walked to the bus stop. Then she saw him again, Charles, standing under a tree near the hotel gates. No driver, no umbrella, no security. Sir, are you okay? She asked. He shrugged. I don't like being driven. I came to feel Lagos today. The real Lagos. She hesitated, then handed him her umbrella. He looked at her. You'll get wet, he said. She smiled. I've been wet all my life, sir. This rain is small. He took the umbrella. Then, as a Danfo bus splashed dirty water over them, they both burst into laughter. In that moment, two worlds, soap and silk, collided, and destiny began its dance. The next morning, whispers filled the Royal Crest staff kitchen. Have you heard? A billionaire's son is staying in the hotel, and he's undercover. Amaka paused mid-sip of her soaked bread and tea. Which can billionaire? Someone laughed. They say the man wears jeans and mingles with the staff. But his wristwatch alone can buy this whole street. Amaka's heart jumped. Could it be him? That evening, when she cleaned the suite again, she finally asked, Who are you really, Charles? He smiled faintly. I'm someone trying to live for once without a crown. She didn't understand. Until the next day, when she was asked to clean the presidential suite for a VVIP guest. When she entered, the door opened slowly behind her, and Charles walked in, wearing a gold wristwatch. With security men, everyone bowed, except Amaka, who dropped her mop in shock. He looked her dead in the eyes and said softly, I'm sorry I didn't tell you, but I needed to know who you were before you knew who I am. Amaka stood still, staring at him, the same man who made her laugh in the rain, now surrounded by guards, draped in wealth. You lied, she said. He stepped forward. I hid the truth. There's a difference. I'm just a maid. You don't belong in my world, she whispered. I don't belong in mine either, he replied. But it was too much. The flowers, the calls, the umbrella, the feelings, all of it a test? She picked up her mop, bowed slightly, and walked out of the room. She didn't cry until she reached the bus stop, and he watched her from the window. For the first time in years, the prince felt powerless. 3 days passed. Amaka avoided the suite. She switched duties with other maids, refused tips. Then one morning, her name was called. Amaka, you have a delivery. She rushed outside and gasped. A black G-Wagon. A man in suit stepped out. Miss Amaka, this is a private invitation to the Future Women Entrepreneurs Gala. You're expected to attend tonight in this. He opened the car. Inside, a box with a deep blue designer gown, glitter heels, and a card that read, For the girl with dreams too big to be ignored. Charles. Amaka couldn't breathe. Was this real? Her mother nearly fainted. My daughter, you will marry President O. That night, she wore the dress, and when she stepped into the gala, even the chandeliers paused to stare. The gala sparkled. Women in diamonds, men in tuxedos, CEOs, first ladies, royalty. Amaka walked carefully, unsure where to stand. Then a hush fell over the room. Charles stepped onto the stage. Spotlight. Tonight, he said, we celebrate women who dream, and one in particular who taught me the meaning of hard work. People murmured. Cameras turned. He pointed to her. Amaka, come forward. She froze. Her knees buckled, but she walked. When she reached him, he took her hand. This girl cleaned my hotel room, but she also cleaned my heart of pride. Gasps. He knelt and presented not a ring, but a business grant certificate worth 20 million Nigerian nairas to start Almashine cleaning empire. Tears rolled down her face, not because of the money, but because, for once, someone saw her fully. The news spread like wildfire. Hotel maid turns entrepreneur overnight. Blogs, headlines, even talk shows. But Amaka stayed grounded. She opened Almashine cleaning services with 12 staff, all former cleaners. She bought her mama a small house, paid off debts, paid her staff double minimum wage, Charles? He watched silently. He never proposed. Until one day, he walked into her office with just a simple ring. Not because I saved you, he said, but because you saved me from a life without meaning. She laughed. You still lie too much. Then she kissed him, not as a maid, but as a woman who built her own throne. The world praised Amaka, but not everyone clapped with clean hands. The Daily Lagos published a headline, Cinderella or Gold Digger? Who is the maid that stole the prince's heart? Comments flew. She trapped him. She used juju. She's too local for royalty. Charles saw the news. His family did too. At the royal estate in Ikoyi, his mother, Lady Ifeoma, slammed her teacup down. A maid? From Ajagunal, or is it Mushin? Is this how you repay the monarchy? Charles stood his ground. She has more class in her silence than most of these society women with empty degrees. But Amaka? She saw the posts, the insults, the blogs. She shut her office door, buried her head in her arms, and cried. Fame, she realized, is not always a crown. Sometimes it's a curse. 2 days later, Amaka was invited to the royal estate. She wore a modest dress and wrapped her hair neatly. Lady Ifeoma received her with fake warmth. You're very humble, she said. But Charles is a public figure, a future king. Amaka remained silent. I'll give you 50 million Nigerian nairas. Walk away. Amaka raised her eyes. You think money will make me leave, she said softly. No, I think your silence will, Lady Ifeoma replied. Just then, Charles walked in. She's not going anywhere. His mother's voice cracked. You're choosing her over your birthright? I'm choosing peace. And the only woman who made me feel human. He turned to Amaka. Let's go. I'm done kneeling for titles. As they drove off, Amaka sat quietly. But her hand found his, not in fear, but in solidarity. Just as Amashine grew, a scandal hit. Online reviews flooded in. Roaches in the client's house. Staff stole money. Services poor. It wasn't true. But someone paid bloggers and influencers to drag the business. Amaka called an emergency meeting. We will not beg. We will fix, clean, prove them wrong, one house at a time. She and her team cleaned houses for free across Victoria Island. Clients posted their experiences. Hashtag Amashine Challenge trended. In 1 week, the scandal flipped and became a marketing miracle. And Charles? He stood with her at every house. In jeans, sweeping too. Together, they mopped more than floors. They cleaned lies with truth. To celebrate the scandal's turnaround, Charles surprised her. He flew her to Obudu Mountain Resort, a private getaway. They rode horses, laughed in waterfalls, slept under the stars. One evening, on the edge of the cliff, she wore a white sundress. The sun kissed the hills. He knelt again, but this time, with a ring. A rare pink diamond. Not because I can afford it, he said, but because you deserve everything beautiful this life can offer. Tears slid down her cheeks. Yes, she whispered. Thunder rolled in the distance, but it was the loudest silence of her life. She didn't become royalty by marrying a prince. She became royalty by learning her worth. The invites read, The People's Princess marries her prince. Guests flew in from Ghana, the UK, even Dubai. Amaka wore a custom bridal dress by a top designer, hand-beaded with coral accents. Charles wore Bata in champagne gold. The aisle was built on water. Real water. Fireworks lit the sky as they said, I do. The crowd roared. But in her mind, Amaka saw herself in her old uniform mopping Suite 804. And smiled. Because every part of her journey, from slippers to stilettos, mattered. And now, she wasn't just a wife. She was a symbol for every girl who was ever told she wasn't enough. The palace courtyard was filled. Reporters, dignitaries, girls from Makoko. Amaka stood behind the microphone, now Princess Amaka of Ikoyi. Her dress shimmered like the ocean. Her words, louder than thunder. Once, I was the girl scrubbing your floors. Now, I'm the voice in your boardroom. To every girl who believes her background is her boundary. It's not where you're from. It's where you refuse to stop. The crowd exploded. Charles watched with mist in his eyes. The royal court had found its new jewel. Ajagunal, where she once slept beside leaking roofs, where voices once said, "You no go ever make am." Now, her black Rolls Royce slowed in front of her old compound. Kids screamed, "Auntie Amaka." She bent to hug them all, barefoot. She opened the trunk, filled with gift boxes, school bags, and food. "I didn't forget where I came from," she said, smiling at Mama Ngozi, "and I never will." She stepped into her old one-room apartment, touched the wall. "I'm still that girl," she whispered. "Only now, I know my worth." The Amaka Arise Foundation was born. Scholarships, startup grants, free skill training. Her motto, "We rise by lifting others, and we don't need a crown to start." Celebrities attended. Influencers cried on live streams. But the highlight? A girl stood up in tears, holding a broom. "I used to be ashamed to clean, but now, I'm starting my own agency." Amaka hugged her. "We were never maids. We were always queens. We just hadn't realized yet." They took a trip to Santorini. No press, just peace. On the rooftop of a luxury villa, Amaka handed Charles a small gold box. He opened it, 2 tiny slippers and a note. "Coming soon. Daddy's twin." He froze, then laughed, then cried. "You're serious?" "I am," she nodded. He lifted her into his arms. From Mushin mop to maternity glow, her journey kept evolving. Because queens don't stop winning. Months later, a documentary titled From Maid to Princess aired globally. It ended with this shot. Amaka and Charles, barefoot on their palace balcony, baby in arms, watching the sun rise over Lagos. "No more hiding," she whispered. "No more pretending I don't belong." Charles kissed her forehead. "You never had to earn it. You were born for it. I just had to find you." The screen faded to black. A quote appeared. "Royalty isn't in blood. It's in bravery. Princess Amaka." And across the world, millions clapped and believed. The end. If this story touched your heart, don't just scroll away. Subscribe to Tales by Amma right now. New luxury love stories drop every week. And trust me, they only get better from here. Leave a comment below. Would you choose love or loyalty to your roots? I'm reading everything. Like, share, and tag someone who needs to hear. Your background is not your barrier. See you in the next tale, where love is louder than fear, and every queen rises in heels or slippers.